Crazy weekend of college football. We had 4 of the top 10 teams in the nation lose outright to unranked opponents. And the odds makers were more than 100 points off from their closing line to the final score. 101.5 points off, actually, which is crazy considering it's only 4 games. So a lot of people I've noticed are saying like this year is more crazy than in years past. And I actually take the other side of that. I think that this is just college football. 20-point favorites lose outright sometimes. And it's a great reminder of money management, kind of what we're about here. 1 unit, 2 units maybe, but don't go too big on any one bet. You're going to get burned. That's what happens in this sport and really sports betting in general. So let's get into what this show's about. This is Marketology, tracking the early week line moves. From the time the odds makers come out, we're using BetOnline openers, to when we're filming right now, which is about 5 o'clock Pacific time. And last week, the early week line moves of what we're going to track right now went 5 and 3. The last 3 weeks went 16 and 10. So those aren't picks. Those aren't like pick records or anything. This is just, did the line moves have it correct? So let's get into it right now. This week's early notable line moves. Start off 311, 312, the game number. Air Force, Nevada, midweek game here. Opened Air Force minus 8.5. The current number minus 5.5. So Nevada taking early money. We know that they had a great game against Colorado State. Has something to do with this line move. Also 317, 318, Tulsa, UConn. You know, Tulsa's been really an underperformer all year going up against UConn. In Tulsa's quarterback situation, I'm not a big fan of, but they kind of made a switch there. Seeing a little under money here, which considering UConn's defense is a little surprising to me. 74 down to 71 now. We got 323, 324, North Texas FAU. This is a big game. Seth Luttrell versus Lane Kiffin. This opener 57.5, almost a touchdown up to currently at 63.5 right now. Heading to the Big 12, we got 365, 366. Kansas TCU, this total 65 down to 60.5. Kind of interesting. Big line move towards the under there in the Big 12. 2 more here, 409, 410, Arizona State, Utah. The Utes open 10.5-point favorites down to just 7, more than a field goal move at BetOnline. We know Arizona State had that great game against Washington, and actually Utah outperformed what the odds makers thought last week, but still getting faded nonetheless. Last one here, 413, 414, Fresno State versus San Diego State. The Aztecs open minus 11.5 favorites down to 7.5. Fresno State's been surprising really all year long. And the early market trading expecting them to go down to San Diego and hang tough. Actually just over a touchdown underdogs now. So this week, not as many notable big line moves, but the ones we just went over were pretty significant. We'll go into last week's line moves. Great. Remember we said it went 5 and 3. We'll just go over them real quick right now. We'll throw up the graph here. In the Big 10, 115, 116, Northwestern Maryland. This total open 57, bet down to 49.5. That was a wrong side move there. Akron, Western Michigan just got off texting with Matt Holt there. We're going to grade that as a no wager, actually, because it got pushed to Sunday. So kind of refunded all bets on that one. Had to make your bet Sunday morning there. So we'll just grade that as neither a win nor a loss. We got 129, 130. UConn Temple. Temple 13.5-point favorites down to 9.5. And that one was actually a really right side winner with UConn winning outright. So calling that one there in the early week line move. 137, 138, Texas Tech, West Virginia. West Virginia minus 7 down to minus 3.5 with Texas Tech taking money. Wrong side there. East Carolina versus UCF. Man, the Knights, the Golden Knights there, minus 29.5 up to minus 34. Another route for them. They're tough to stop. Scott Frost and company, McKenzie Milton. That offense is running real well. Interesting game this week, actually, versus Navy. 157, 158, Houston, Tulsa. Houston minus 9 up to minus 13.5. Wrong side there with Tulsa winning outright. Odds makers really off on this. Also, the early market trading last week, just absolute wrong side there. We got Nevada, Colorado State, touched on it earlier, 59, the total up to 65.5. right side move there with both teams scoring 40-plus points. Nevada kind of showing their offense is at least showing signs of life here. 177, 178, UCLA, Arizona. Total 74 up to 79. That one actually lands in between, so important to get on that one early last week on those Bet Online openers. 197, 198, UTEP, Southern Miss minus 18 up to minus 23. Graded out as a win, but I'll tell you, UTEP showed some heart, so I would be careful just kind of blindly fading them with Mike Price now at the helm. And last one here, 223, 224, Georgia Tech, Miami. ACC rivalry here. It was an interesting one to watch with Miami opening up 10.5-point favorites. Bet down to less than a touchdown favorite with Georgia Tech taking money. That was a right side there. You could kind of feel that one coming. Miami off of a big-time win against Florida State, coming back home, having to prepare for that triple option. And the early market bettors were right, pushing that under a touchdown, and that was a win for the Georgia Tech backers. All right, so we got to get into grading last week's bets here on Marketology. Remember, if you can't track it, you can't improve it. So we'll throw up last week's graded wagers, really out of my personal Bet Online account, wins and losses, as you can see right there, graded by the Bet Online Sportsbook. Tulane, unfortunately, minus 10.5, beat the closing line, but just didn't show up. I mean, went down to Miami, and FIU just was absolutely the right side there, so no doubt about it, a 2-unit loss. That one hurt, losing out right there with Tulane. UAB plus 3.5, right side winner there. New Mexico State minus 4.5, got the win. Although watching that game, I think the kind of the ball bounced really our way. And then last one here, Texas State plus 14. That was a loss in a midweek game. You know, turnovers weren't on the Bobcats' side, so I kind of feel like one fell our way, one fell against us. And nonetheless, 2-3 down on the week, which really overall just kind of sucks, you know. Overall record year to date, we'll throw it up here, 11-9. Plus 0.80 units, kind of slow and steady, 1 and 2 units as we go in Marketology. So we'll end it here with this week's Marketology bets from yesterday and today from my Bet Online account. Throw them up here for you. We got, starting at the bottom, Arkansas State minus 12.5 versus ULL. I think Arkansas State is still a little bit underrated in the betting markets. Got UMass minus 7 versus Georgia Southern. I think UMass, this is a tricky handicap. You know, they're coming off of an extended bye period because of canceled games, and getting able to prepare for that triple option, or, you know, whatever type of option principles you want to call the Georgia Southern offense. I think that UMass is a little underrated here. Tough trip for Georgia Southern. UAB hitting them on a 2-unit play here. Got a minus 4.5 at the BOL opener. They bumped it up a little bit, hit it again at minus 5. So jumping on the Blazers and equally fading Charlotte, the 49ers. Their best player on defense went down as well. So an already kind of weak team there, I think, just got weaker. So hitting the Blazers hard. UConn plus 7. It's just kind of a bet. I felt that really they shouldn't be 7-point underdogs, and just kind of leave it at that. Also, ULL, Arkansas State, over 65. Looks like I didn't get the best of the number on this one, so you can get a better number now on Bet Online. Lafayette, Arkansas State, I just don't see a lot from Lafayette's defense. I know they showed up against Idaho, but I think Arkansas State's offense is a lot more powerful. And also ULL running up tempo. I think that they'll be able to punch it in a couple times, and this 65 looking a little low, so you can actually get a better price there. We got Buffalo plus 3. I like what Lance Leopold's doing there in Buffalo. I think that they're a well-coached team. Also, Miami, Ohio's well-coached, but just at this state in the season, I think Buffalo getting plus 3, I really think the wrong team's favored here in this MAC matchup. So going with a big card, we got seven bets here, 7 units with UAB going twice. So hopefully it's a good week for Marketology bets, and hopefully get you on the right side of the number. Feel free to hit me up on Twitter at DrewMartinBets, or use the hashtag AskSBR. Anything you want answered on the show, any topics you want to talk about, or just questions in college football or betting in general, happy to answer them for you. We'll be back next Tuesday morning with another Marketology episode. I'm Drew Martin for SBR. Thanks for tuning in.